post office? Well, we have a solution for you. Pack Mail is an all-in-one mail center conveniently located in the Fry's Shopping Center at 3218 East Bell Road, right here in Phoenix. Owned and operated by Arizona residents Mark and Vicky Battaglia, you can be sure of getting personalized professional service. They will pack, crate, freight, and ship your items anywhere in the world. They work with all the major carriers like DHL, UPS, USPS, and Federal Express. Need an address for your home business or startup company? They have P.O. boxes on site where you can receive and pick up your mail anytime, and their knowledgeable and courteous staff will find a way to ship that awkward or heavy item. You can even have your packages picked up and delivered for a small fee. Their motto is, if you can imagine it, we can ship it. Drop in on the good folks at Pack Mail and let them do the work for you. Pack Mail can be reached at 602-971-2300 or email at info@weshipphoenix.com. That's Pack Mail, 602-971-2300 or info@weshipphoenix.com.
Hello, Arizona. This is State Senate candidate Anthony Kern, District 20. And when I'm out fighting the woke culture in Arizona, I like to listen to the truth. I like to listen to the real scoop. And therefore, I listen to Hub Radio Phoenix, and you should too.
Located in downtown Phoenix, the Colden Law Group specializes in business and election law, civil and political litigation, as well as evictions and special actions. Call them today at 602-730-2985. That's 602-730-2985.
Hi, I'm Marta Llamas and I own a commercial cleaning company. Now that many people will be getting back to work, let's get your facility ready for them with our total disinfecting, wipe down, and fogging procedures. Our two-step process will help you ensure that your offices are safe. Call me today for a free estimate, and together we can help protect your employees. Thank you, and let's continue to stay safe.
I'm Senator Sonny Borelli, and when I come to Phoenix, I always want to be informed, so I tune in to Hub Radio Phoenix. You want to be informed? I suggest you do the same. Make sure you tune in.
Ron Letter.
Hi, I'm Marta Llamas, and I own a commercial cleaning company. Now that many people...
Oh, man. I love that audience. Isn't that great, Ray?
Oh, it's a wonderful
Hey,
studio
listen,
audience.
we're welcoming you to this show tonight. We're having a great time here. My gosh, we have a full studio tonight. And believe it or not, we have one of the very first co-hosts here tonight. Believe it or not, Ray.
That's awesome.
You're just kind of a replacement for
I
the
am.
original Ruby White. Not Ruby White, Ruby Color. I don't know what her color is. You look white.
I'm just the rebound here on Backstreet Gossip.
Yes, you are. Any rate,
And I've never done Backstreet Gossip. This is the first.
That's
yes.
right. This is your first
right.
time on
I'm
Backstreet
usually-
Gossip.
This is Josh Bernstein from Josh
I'm
Bernstein
usually on
Uncenter.com.
Wednesday
Center,
show.
yes. And believe it or not, if any of you watched Donald Trump when he was in Phoenix, he gave a shout out to 3 different people, and he used this beautiful phrase, Wendy Kelly Borelli. And we've had Wendy on, we've had Borelli on, and now we've got Kelly on. Kelly Townsend, Senator Kelly Townsend.
Hello, Senator.
And welcome to the
Thanks
show.
for having me on.
And the audience is going absolutely crazy.
Crazy here. I've never seen it so exciting. At any rate, what I want you to do, I want you to pass this messages on. You need to share this show, okay? Everybody share it. And those of you, no matter where you're at in the world, and we have a world audience, we have 3.5 million viewers, I want you to go to this one big thing. Follow us. Follow us. You're going to get these nice notices as to when we're going to be on the air, so I want you to follow us. Tonight we have a kind of an interesting show. We have 5 guests here. Of course, we have the beautiful Ray Michaels.
Well, hello, everyone.
And, of course, Kelly Townsend, Senator Kelly Townsend, and Josh Bernstein.
Josh Bernstein Uncensored.com.
That's right.
Thank you for that.
you.
That's a
Thank you
nice
for the-
plug. And, of course, We the People. And if you remember a week ago, we did the We the People.
Yeah, Josh Barnett was on.
And
David Jose.
And David Jose.
Yeah, that was a wonderful show. We've had so many comments on that, and we're going to do something again.
by popular demand, because they really ran through it, what your rights are as an American citizen. And the one thing is, remember, our elected officials work for us. And I know that I've known Kelly for a long time. She knows that. Because I remember when you were a wannabe.
That's right.
And
Is that what they're called? Wannabes?
Wannabe. She was a Senator wannabe. Actually, she's in the Senate now, but she originally ran for the House of Representatives.
That's right.
And the thing is, we have asked, and this is really important, we have asked the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors chairman, and that's Jack Sellers, to come on the show. And we have a picture of him here. Josh, what does it say?
It says made in China and CCP approved.
Oh,
Well, you know,
Certainly
this
does.
this is kind of like a stunt double, or if you're
Yes.
watching the Academy Awards, accepting the award for.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
They couldn't be
CCP.
with us right now. They're
Yeah.
somewhere in Shanghai.
We
but-
were trying to get the audio animatronic figure of Jack Seller, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't available. It was
No, they didn't make a
it
model
was
like
leased
that.
leased out to some other parties.
and we
That's
couldn't
true.
find a Mao jacket for
Yeah.
him. But at any rate, we've asked him to come on the show. We've asked the Board of Supervisors many, many, many times, and there's only one guy that ever made it to our show, Ray.
Yes.
Who was that?
He was your friend. You brought him on,
Chutri?
It was Mr. Chukri.
Steve.
And
Chukri?
we kind of beat him up so bad on the show that he actually voted. The vote was 4-1, and the one vote was him. The day after he came on the show, he voted.
Well, you know, he was presented with a lot of things by Josh Barnett and many others. He was presented, and then he said, "Oh no, I wasn't aware of it, but I will do something now," which he did, and it was very nice. But you know, Senator, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much, and especially after the president basically endorsed you. I mean, this is pretty phenomenal.
It's Welly.
but as-
it's
Wendy Kelly Borelli. That's right. That's right.
That's right.
She's
That was
the
three
middle
fighters.
name.
and that was awesome. But from your perspective as an elected official, and a forum like this where people want to see you, I mean, we have a lot of people watching the show, and they want to hear your input on this. Why wouldn't an elected official want to come in and sit on a show like this?
Well, we have a lot of questions that start with why, and we haven't been able to get the answers, so we have to speculate, right?
And that's what we're going to do
Yeah,
tonight.
we have to speculate why they won't come on.
We're going to ask Jack Sellers.
China Jack.
We're going to ask him some questions, but he's not here to answer the questions. They've been asked many times to attend this program because we are local, we are grassroots, and we want to know why they're being so obstinate in securing the answers that the public, it's not just the Senator, it's the people of Maricopa County want to know what is going on. We pay the bills. We want to know what in the world has happened.
Now, Ron, you should actually tell people why he couldn't make it tonight. The attorneys weren't available.
Perkins Coie wasn't able to sit in with him, I guess.
Any rate, before we start, though, it's really important that we talk about something a little bit different. There was a senator, one of your cohorts here, that last Thursday had been arrested for child molestation, and that was Tony Navarrete, Senator Tony Navarrete, and
What district is he in?
30,
30?
District 30, and it's not a pretty sight what they got him for. When they were talking minor children, they were talking children under 14 years of age.
That's correct.
Sick.
And actually, the guy got out on $50,000 bail. Now, that seems like a lot of money, but we have a lot of our co-American people that went to Washington, D.C. on 1/6. We've covered that many times on the program, and they're still sitting in the tank down there.
Yeah.
They,
And all they,
they're
and
not
all they
allowed
did was
bail.
take a leisurely stroll through the Capitol, in which the Capitol Police allowed them in.
and we know people have been arrested for parading without a permit, and they're sitting in jail in Washington, D.C. Now, Kelly, you know how we feel about that, and I know how you. Tell us what you've done today.
Well, I have to tell you how disturbing it has been through this weekend to think about what has happened, to know that he has confessed on a recorded line to his victim, apologized to the victim, and said that it was very interesting, his apology too. It was about himself. He said, I'm going to have to live with this the rest of my life, knowing what I've done to you.
What about the poor child that was
The child that was
And
molested by
are
him?
there any other children that have been molested by him? And so now we have someone else who's come out and accused him of sexual harassment in the workplace, and that it was just brushed under the rug. And, you know, it's really disturbing. And I don't think this person deserves one more day in the legislature. I am a little dismayed at how slow we're moving on this. So I'm sorry, but I'm a mother. It's a matter of conscience. With or without any other senator, I am going to move forward and publish, and I did today, an ethics complaint, because he does not
Good job.
have the right to delay his resignation. I heard today from a reporter that this is hearsay, that a lobbyist who's an attorney had advised him to not resign so that when he goes for his plea deal, he can then use his resignation as part of the plea deal. And how crazy is that he has some kind of right to delay this? Every single victim in Arizona and beyond is sickened by this, and every day that he remains in the Arizona legislature just digs that pain in even deeper. So on behalf of you who are victims, I have to act, and I have to act today. And I gave him till noon, and I gave the Democrats until noon, and nothing. They called on him to resign, but that obviously isn't working, because he's going to use that resignation to do some kind of plea deal. So
I think
it's not
he's
enough.
taking his cue from Mario Cuomo.
Yeah.
There's
Not Mario.
Well, whatever.
Andrew.
And yeah, whatever. And, yeah, the governor of New York, and that's the least of his problems. I mean, this is a cover up for all of the deaths that he's a serial murderer, in my opinion. When he took all those old people and put them in nursing homes with COVID patients. Unbelievable. I mean, this man should have resigned at the first of the year, if not sooner. And he's still there hanging on. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to hang on, but same thing. I mean, and if you notice, guys, there's one big thing about Navarrete and Cuomo. And it's not that their names end in vowels, it's that their names end with D's next to them.
Yeah, I've always said, a Democrat could literally strangle a kitten on live television and everything's forgiven because there's a D in front of their name. And with Republicans, it's obviously just the opposite. I mean, think about Michelle Ugenti-Rita, who basically had sexual harassment allegations against a pretty powerful member of the legislature, and they did an investigation. J.D. Mesnard ended up taking him out of Congress, but yet we still have this guy who, as you said, has admitted to doing these horrendous, heinous acts to children, and yet we're still sitting here, and this guy is in the Senate, and it's unbelievable. I don't understand how that can be. But again, if it's the two-tier justice system,
Well, we
of the
have a
Democrats.
culture issue, and when I gave my press conference today there at the Capitol, I mentioned some parents that had wanted to join me there, but they couldn't. And so on their behalf, I mentioned how this has only deepened their concern, because earlier this year, he fought the effort of the sex education bill that we had, and to allow the opt-in instead of the opt-out. And the parents are horrified at this effort that he had to push sexuality in young ages, in first grade, kindergarten. And so when I talked about that, it shifted from Tony Navarrete needs to be expelled from the legislature to how dare you use this as a reason to try and expel him. And it was almost as if they were his defense attorneys there defending Tony Navarrete and his motives, and they said, were these boys somehow more willing to allow him to do this because of sex ed? It was disgusting. And I think the media is in large part at fault for the way that this culture is going, because they defend this. They distract. They try to pivot off Townsend's saying that the sex, I'm done with it. I don't know about you guys. I am done with creepy men like Joe Biden. I am done with pedophiles. As a mom and as fathers, I'm sure we are not putting up with it, not another minute.
Now, Senator, certainly there must be some sort of mechanism. I mean, this isn't an accusation. This is an admittal. He said, I did this. So there must be, and I'm sure that everybody watching is thinking, within the legislative structure, if somebody blatantly does something and admits to it, there should be some sort of mechanism that would immediately remove them, and it wouldn't be up to them.
So that would be, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think we just need a simple rule change to move to expel immediately. I think that there's an important part of the discovery process, though, to go through the ethics committee. We all know it's unethical. We all know that he admitted to it and is on tape, and it's part of this very disgusting account. But there's more questions. There's someone accusing him of sexual harassment, and it was swept under the rug. Part of my ethics my ethics complaint, because I'm afraid that this is going to not be touched because it's political. It seems political. So I put in my ethics complaint, who knew about this? When did they know about this? What did they do? What resources have been used by Senator Navarrete to forward his agenda of early sexual education of our children? And, who's responsible? Right. Who in the Democrat Party at the legislature may have known that there was a problem?
Was this a complete cover-up?
Right.
Was this coming from other members? And if so, then they should be an accessory, and they
That's
should
right.
also be expelled.
That's right. So that's why we need to go through the ethics process. I would love for him to just go away and be done. And he does need to be held accountable as fast as possible, but those are unanswered questions that I want to know.
Ron, I agree with exactly what you're saying, that there need to be further investigations. But I also think that if we know without a doubt, and we have the recording, that he admitted it, he should be removed, and then we can do the investigation. But he has no business doing any representation of his constituents.
Can Karen
Let me remind
something
people
as
right
the
now,
head- as
and
the
let's
Senate
talk about this. And it's going to be terribly political, what I'm going to say. Back in the 90s, we all remember the Monica Lewinsky issues here with Bill Clinton. And we know that it was very unethical. What he does in his private life is his business, but he's doing it in governmental property. And of all things, he was doing this in the Oval Office of the White House,
With an
the most
intern.
sacred place. Yes, the most sacred. And, and he refused to resign. Now, a lot of people don't remember this, but I'm going to remind you, Newt Gingrich also had an affair. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. Newt Gingrich quietly
But this is children.
resigned.
These are children.
But I'm saying there are people that have the responsibility when they do something that is incorrect, and they know it's incorrect and immoral, they do the right thing. And it doesn't seem like, I can think
Democrats never do the right thing.
Yeah, I was going to say,
That's
I
the
can
problem.
think of three Democrats, Clinton, and then we go to Cuomo and now Navarrete. And it's even worse with Navarrete. I mean, it wasn't consenting adults.
Well, can I give a shout out
Of
to
course.
Senator Wendy Rogers? She is the only senator who has come out publicly to support me in the ethics complaint to have him removed.
Good for her.
And I
Out of
hope
all
that-
the senators,
I don't
she's
know
the only
so
one.
far that now we have Senate President Karen Fann calling on his resignation, but actually holding him accountable, going through the ethics process and removing him, I'm almost all alone. And if Wendy Rogers wasn't out of town, I would expect she would have been there with
Wendy
me today.
is definitely going to support that.
Now, I
She's
also
a
want to
patriot.
shout out Nancy Bartow, who I've been talking on the phone today, and looking at how do we need to look at the laws that may need to be changed to prevent this from going forward. For example, we passed a law that said that foster kids need to have access to information on how to disclose, who to disclose to safely, but I want that on the books in the law saying you shall teach these foster kids when they go into the system. And what happens to the foster kid that doesn't have a trusted adult? They may be homeschooled.
Yeah.
We've seen situations, the girl up in the attic that was rotting after she died, no one to talk to, no one for these kids, and they finally had to escape the building. These kids need to know they can pick up the phone and call 911.
Yeah.
I want that to be in the law. So that's another thing we have to do, is we have to look and see, where did we fail them? And what do we need to change? And so this is the things that I want to look at, and Senator Bartow is working with me to look at what needs to change legislatively.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Senator Bartow is my senator. And I'm glad. I know she's got very high standards herself, and I really wish you the best on this, because this, to me, when anybody takes the innocence of a child away from them, thank God that when I grew up, I did have an innocent childhood. I didn't have any weird things happen, either in my community or in my family, and it seems like we hear more and more of that today. And the one thing that I preach to everybody, you've known me a long time. I'm not a journalist. I'm an auditor, for God's sake. But, so what you're hearing here, ladies and gentlemen, is opinion. None of us are journalists.
No.
But we're average, everyday, hard-working, patriotic Americans. And I know you are, too. So let's do the right thing. There's no excuse in our society for lying, cheating, especially taking advantage of the young minds that are coming up that will be the citizens of this country in the next decades. So, and we're not afraid to say it either, are we, Ray?
No, not at all.
So that's where that is. Now, I want to move on, because we have Jack Sellers that should have been
Shanghai Jack.
What a nice name, Seller. It kind of
Sellers.
sounds like he was
selling
a
out
seller.
his America's best interest.
Yeah.
And I know
And you
Kelly,
can't say his name at the airport. Hijack. You can't say
Right, you can't say hijack. You're right. It's a good one.
what do they say? Hi, Seller. Sailor?
Mister.
At any rate, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to ask him some questions. So, Kelly, if you have any questions you'd like to start out, go ahead. Jack's right on there, and let's address some questions. Anybody has a question, address them.
Hey, Chairman Sellers, how are you this evening?
I'm pretty good.
Oh, okay. That's good. I'm glad you're. Are
We
you,
had to
are you,
disguise-
Hint off.
we had to disguise his voice just to protect.
To protect the innocent.
question one, are you sleeping well?
Oh, like a baby.
I figured as much.
You mean he woke up and his bed was wet?
I've got my Chinese-made sheets, and I'm doing great. And I throw darts at Mike Lindell.
They just happen to be rubber
Did,
sheets.
did you buy them at Walmart?
Oh, you know it. Walmart, Target, anything that's going to, send all manufacturing out to China.
Of course. Of course. Well, okay, so question number 2. Routers. Why did you say that there's routers and there wasn't routers, and then there are routers but you can't have them because they have law enforcement sensitive information, and then now we're back to no routers? What's the scoop with the routers?
I don't know what the scoop is with the routers. I have a router at my house, so I don't really know what you're talking about. I'll have to ask my Chinese buddies, I guess.
How about passwords?
Passwords, yeah. Well, we all have our own passwords, so I don't know. I think Dominion actually ran the entire election, and we abrogated our responsibility at the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors to even run the election, which probably makes it illegal. So we'd have to ask Dominion.
I got another question. Texas in 2019 did a technical analysis and a security analysis of Dominion machines. Did we do that here in Arizona? Any technical analysis or security analysis? Because Texas
Yeah.
did it, and they failed the machines and said no thanks, Dominion. So what did Arizona do? Do you know?
Yeah, I believe we had EAS, the certified EES company. But actually, wait a minute. You know what? No, that wasn't certified. So I apologize for that. I think Dominion, they're close to China, and so we just gave them the deal because, we just wanted to.
Well, it seems like there was Jack, if you don't mind, tell me, there was like a $400 million transfer sometime in 2019, I believe, early 2019, of the ownership of the company. Is that who was that?
Yeah, well, look, there's always $400 million transfers every day all around the world, especially to China. So I'm not sure which one. There's been so many, you'd have to give me the exact one.
I got, what is it, question 4, I think I'm on?
Yeah, I think so.
Just go
Is
ahead.
that it? Is that it? Okay. Question 4. The day that the Arizona Senate was going to vote to hold y'all in contempt, we had the 16 votes.
Yes.
When I was coming into the building, y'all were coming out, and I think it was Gates. It was like a nice junior high Senator Townsend with a big smile on his face, having just left Senator Boyer's office. And Senator Boyer subsequently voted no after that meeting. What did you guys talk about in there?
Well, I actually talked about adopting him as a grandson. As a matter of fact, Paul's been a good little boy, and he does all of our bidding, and so we really appreciate him. Basically turning a blind eye to the voter fraud at the last minute.
You know what? We do appreciate that you had the meeting in the office and not in a plane on a tarmac. We do appreciate
Right.
that.
Well, that was already booked. We
But
couldn't do that.
plus, I understand that there was some free Chinese food thrown in at the office. Is that true, too?
There was some
Fortune
free
cookies,
dim
perchance?
sum and fortune cookies, and of course spare ribs, which is certainly my favorite.
Okay, last question. So ARS 411150, something to that effect, talks about how it is against the law to not comply with a Senate subpoena. Now, we talked about how we need a vote to go and arrest, but there's also a provision in there that makes it a crime to ignore a Senate subpoena. And you clearly are not afraid of breaking the law when it comes to that, and we've referred that, thank you to Sonny Borelli, who has asked the Attorney General to look into that, and I hope that persuades you to do the right thing. But the Auditor General is about to do an audit on you guys that I had requested in the budget for the Facebook dollars. Are you going to ignore the Auditor General and her requests for information, and if she happens to ask you some of the things that we've been asking, are you going to also ignore her as well?
You're referring to Arizona Revised Statute 41-1279.04, which provides the Auditor General the authority to examine any and all financial records.
Very impressive. So you do know about that.
I do know about it, and I've had a lot of conversations with her. Apparently, she's someone that we've known for a while, and we'll see how it goes. I know right now that Mark Brnovich has told us that we have until August 20th to answer the Sonny Borelli criminal referral, so we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I got to run because I've got a call with the CCP.
Oh, let me ask you one last thing. How do you look in orange?
Well, I don't typically wear a jumpsuit, but, I might look good in one, hopefully.
It's a
Great.
kimono.
That's
A
great.
kimono, yeah, kimono.
I had one question.
I didn't know I was going to be doing the Jack Sellers voice, but that's fine. This is
Chairman,
going to be great content.
I have a quick question for you. Where do
Yes.
you get all the money to get the defense to defend yourself against Arizona state statute?
Well, you see, I'm really not a Republican. I'm really a globalcrat, and I'm very close with the bought and paid for George Soros-owned Secretary of State Katie Hobbs.
You mean the same Katie Hobbs that calls Trump voters neo-Nazis?
Yes, yes.
All of
Katie
them?
Hobbs?
All of them?
All of them.
Yes. You see, election integrity to me is not important because I'm a open borders globalist who's in the back pocket of the CCP. And so therefore, I'm going to do what's going to make myself more wealthy, and I don't really care about the constituents nor the voters of Maricopa County.
So, one more question, just to tack on there. Do you have a summer home in China?
I do. I have one in Shanghai. I have one in Chengdu. I have one in Beijing. And I'm going to buy one in Pyongyang, believe it or not.
What about
There's a beautiful empty apartment building with nothing in it, just a storefront that looks like there's real fruit and things like that in the front, but there's nothing else in it because it's all empty. I'm thinking of buying that one.
I understand that the garden city of Wuxi is quite nice this time of year.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You guys
the
know way
foliage
too
is
much
amazing.
about China. Sorry.
Well, Jack, I wanted to mention about this photograph. Can you?
Oh.
This kind of looks like
Yes.
you're in China on March 14th, 2019. If I'm mistaken, that was before the election.
Yes, it was.
And it was shortly after your visit there that the Board of Supervisors, not doing due diligence, but just determined, even after Texas had said 9 to the Dominion equipment, that the Board of Supervisors said, let's have the election run by Dominion. And I mean run by Dominion, not just provide the equipment.
Now,
What do you say to that, Jack?
Well, first and foremost, I would say that that's one of many of my trips to China. Don't forget, I'm part of the Arizona Deep State here, which is GPEC, which is known as the Greater Phoenix Economic Council. I'm actually responsible for bringing in foreign investments, and especially from China. And as a matter of fact, our Sister City program, did you know that 50% of all of our Sister City programs are in China? So I think I'm doing a hell of a job for the people of Maricopa
You mean for
County.
Maricopa County?
Sure.
So Gilbert, Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, Gilbert.
Glendale's got a
Gilbert-
sister city in
Gilbert
China.
is Leshen, I believe it was. Tempe was Chengdu, and I believe Phoenix was, I can't remember offhand. I think it might have been Shanghai, but I don't remember.
Can we bring up the picture one more time? I don't know. No, not the one shaking
The
hands.
one where he's shaking hands
Yeah.
with the number 2
I don't know if we can
CCP.
get a close up there, but I think that they're trading off a fortune cookie in their hands. Can you see
They
that
might
at all?
be.
Is it like a challenge coin, only
I believe it.
Chinese style?
Yeah, you see, I hate President Trump, and I know that Chairman Xi hates President Trump, and he doesn't like the fact that President Trump is trying to stop the currency manipulation, is trying to stop the trade imbalances, and basically trying to stop China from cheating. So because we both hate President Trump, we decided to get together and do whatever we could to make sure that he couldn't get reelected. And that's why we brought in foreign companies like Dominion to basically abrogate our responsibilities to even run the election at all, which is why we don't have access to the codes and the passcodes and the routers and the spunk laws and all those things. So really, it's Dominion that ran the entire election, which I guess is probably illegal.
It's very illegal, as
Yeah.
a matter of fact.
But with our two-tier justice system, it looks like we're going to get away with it. But we'll see what happens.
Well, you know,
Mark,
I did-
Brnovich is running for the U.S. Senate, we know.
when we did have one of your colleagues here, Mr. Chukri, Steve Chukri, I did ask that question.
He's a
whether-
Democrat, too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, at any rate, I did ask him a little bit about the equipment that who was doing the due diligence on the equipment and who on the board, was making that decision. And come find out from some of the statements that he made, it doesn't look like the board of supervisors of Maricopa County were the ones that actually made the decision, which led me to believe that in Maricopa County, maybe a guy named Fontes had a great deal to do with this. Do you recognize that name?
Yeah, Adrian, yes.
Adrian Fontes?
The one that in 2018 left open the polling stations on Sundays when actually he was not supposed to, so that we could get some extra votes there in Pima and Maricopa County to make sure that we put Kirsten Sinema in the Senate.
Did you know that Mr. Fontes sent his staff 2 years in a row to the DEF CON conference where the hackers are, and they try to hack into various things, and they have this thing called Voter Village. And both years, Voter Village hackers gave dire warnings to America itself that if we're going to be serious about voter integrity and security, that we should do serious, deep forensic audits on the elections because of how vulnerable these machines were. And Dominion had a grade of very vulnerable to hacking, and that basically any kid could get in there within a half an hour. So why did not Fontes report back to you, or was Fontes actually shopping for the least secure machine before they got the contract?
Yeah, I would say that that's probably the case right there. Fontes is a far left radical liberal that's bought and paid for by
You really
George Soros as
think
well.
that's true?
Yeah, just like I am. So.
Because I've noticed that about him.
But, we're going to continue to talk to Mark Elias and Perkins Coie, and we're going to try to run out the clock and stonewall this thing as much as possible. But there are some fighters in that Arizona Senate, Kelly Townsend being one of them, Wendy Rogers being another, and, of course, Sonny Borelli. So hopefully those three will be able to fight with the rest of them, and we'll see what happens.
The Wendy Kelly Borelli team. Any rate, I hear some music, and that means we've got to take a short break here. There's more to come. Do not go away. And those of you on the East Coast, welcome to the 10 o'clock hour.
That wasn't too bad ad-libbing, right?
Just
That was
keep,
awesome.
Just keep hanging on there because
We're
there's a
coming for you,
lot more to
Jack.
come for those of you on the East Coast. And so we'll see you on the
Get
other
ready
side.
for them orange jumpsuits, Jack.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Hi, Jack. Easy it was to get started in an interesting, informative radio program, I jumped at the chance. Since AM radio program is being replaced by podcasting, you can even create your own programming from your home. Hi, I'm Ron Lutters, better known as Uncle Ronnie on my Fighting Back radio program. If you have a business, a hobby, or a passion and you would like to share that with others, then podcasting may be for you. With strong desire, some talent, and a deep passion, you too could get your radio message on your very own radio programming on Hub Radio Phoenix Network. We have one of the best broadcast engineers in Arizona to help you every step of the way. If you are interested in the enjoyment of podcasting, call me at 602-677-1496 to discuss the effective and affordable way to own your very own radio program. That's 602-677-1496.
Are you tired of the long lines and impersonal service you get at the post office? Well, we have a solution for you. Pack Mail is an all-in-one mail center conveniently located in the Fry Shopping Center at 3218 East Bell Road, right here in Phoenix. Owned and operated by Arizona residents Mark and Vicky Battaglia, you can be sure of getting personalized professional service. They will pack, crate, freight, and ship your items anywhere in the world. They work with all the major carriers like DHL, UPS, USPS, and Federal Express. Need an address for your home business or startup company? They have P.O. boxes on site where you can receive and pick up your mail anytime, and their knowledgeable and courteous staff will find a way to ship that awkward or heavy item. You can even have your packages picked up and delivered for a small fee. Their motto is, if you can imagine it, we can ship it. Drop in on the good folks at Pack Mail and let them do the work for you. Pack Mail can be reached at 602-971-2300 or email at info@weshipphoenix.com. That's Pack Mail, 602-971-2300 or info@weshipphoenix.com.
This is Peter Martin, financial advisor in the Phoenix metropolitan area. When I seek the truth about what's going on in the world, I listen to Hub Radio Phoenix.
Hi, I'm Martha Llamas, and I own a commercial cleaning company. Now that many people will be getting back to work, let's get your facility ready for them with our total disinfecting, wipe down, and fogging procedures. Our two-step process will help you ensure that your offices are safe. Call me today for a free estimate, and together we can help protect your employees. Thank you, and let's continue to stay safe.
You're watching Backstreet Gossip, news talk, current events, and political commentary with your host, Ron Lutters. Now, let's return to the show.
Jack has left us and had to catch a flight directly
No, he's
to
right here.
Shanghai.
No,
he's
he's
right
here.
Oh,
He's
he's
here.
still here?
Jack's still here. Any rate, Jack, we don't want to talk behind your back, but those of you on the
You are behind his
East
back.
Coast, we welcome you back. Please stay awake, and we'd like you to go to your favorite page there and push the follow button, please. Yes, you push the follow button right now.
You know,
Good,
Ron,
thank
Ron,
you.
I wanted to ask the senator. Now, President Trump came in town, and that was an amazing event. Josh, you were there. I was there. A lot of things happening there. You were up in the front, and here's the President of the United States, and I believe he still is. We have a resident.
We have a Biden pretendency.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But there you are in the audience, and he's pointing and calling your name. What is that? How does that make you feel?
It was surreal. It was surreal, and I felt like, there was many of us there. There was many who were missing, and there was one who left. But it was definitely surreal, and it's not just about myself. And as a matter of fact, you know what I felt bad about? It's always about the Senate, the Senate, the Senate. But we have many over in the House that really want to be a
Exactly.
part of this, but the Speaker wouldn't allow it. He said there was no problems with the election, everything's fine.
Rhino
Now
Rusty.
this is
And he's-
Rusty Bowers.
He's coming along to where he would finally
Our
allow
break-
some of the
our
election
breakfast-
bills.
The guy we had breakfast with
Yeah.
early on and said, no problem here.
But-
He's an
We're not
artist.
going to do it.
He's
So,
a BS
so you're
artist.
there, and here's the president who, yeah, I mean, the world knows the president. And when the president says your name, it means something. I mean, he's not just saying these things. And when he made that comment, Wendy Kelly Borelli, oh, I like that. We're going to keep that one. And you're sitting there with your colleagues. Now, you've been in the legislature for a long time, and you're a wonderful public servant, and we
Thank you.
appreciate it so much. There's not a lot of people that walk in there and want to serve the public, want to be true statesmen. You are one of those that is willing to stand
Just
up.
to show you how American.
Oh, it was a little nerdy.
Look
Sorry.
at her phone
When she
case.
walked in, we even saluted her phone case. That's how important she is. And
About
so,
as patriotic as it gets.
you know, I mean, that's kind of a pinnacle. I mean, that is something that you will remember forever, to be acknowledged in the service that you give your constituents.
Okay, I got to be honest. What was going through my mind at the time was I can't wait to tell my little brother Matt.
And
Do you
who-
think I sent him the link? I did. I said,
and-
hey, Matt, check
and
this out.
So, who is your little? Tell us
Big
about
sister makes it.
Tell us about your little brother Matt.
I have my older sister Patty, and then there's 6 years between me and Mike, and Mike and Matt are close together. So there was like two of us here, and I love all of them. And I got some stepbrother and two stepsisters as well. And but Matt is up and coming, and he's getting involved up there in Oregon, and he's taken on some pretty big liberals in the local school district. I'm so proud of him, and he and I have talked a lot recently through all of this, and I knew he was going to be cool about it, and so he did. He posted the link. It's just one of those things where, in the midst of all of it going on, you still are like, okay, I got to tell my brother, you know.
Well, that's a big mountain for him to climb in Oregon.
Especially in Oregon.
Oh
Yes.
my God!
Yeah.
They don't even know how to pump their own gas.
No. Oregon and New Jersey.
Yeah.
They sure know how to burn cities down, though.
They
do.
certainly
Oh.
do.
Like
Luckily,
Portland,
he's in Southern Oregon. He's away from
He's
all
in
the
Bend.
crazy.
I was going to say,
Southern.
don't tell me he lives in Portland.
Yeah.
No,
wow.
anyway.
That is terrible. Well, you know, Kelly, we had a guy named Garland Favorito here, and you might have met him. He's from Georgia, and he's making a lot of waves right now.
Okay.
And,
He was on our show, and then he went to
Yeah.
national television right from
Everybody
here.
starts out here, so tomorrow you'll probably be on
That's
Today
right.
Show or something, and maybe they'll
Let's go for Hannity.
they put you
There
on
you
the
go.
5
Right.
or
How about Mark Levin? Let's
Yeah,
get
Mark
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 Levin.
Levin on Sunday. At any rate, he was here. He had spent some time over at the Coliseum, and he was excited to go back to Georgia, and now he's making big waves in Georgia. And there's some really nasty stuff going on there. It looks like lots and lots and lots of I can't use the F word, and it's not the F word you're thinking.
Right.
It's inconsistencies. The reason we don't use the F word here is we'll be taken off the air if we use the F word. So we just want to say inconsistencies. And there was some things here. This is an article here in Gateway Pundit, and it says, "We caught them. Fulton County, Georgia caught in another lie. They claim that only 5,000 absentee ballots were adjudicated in 2020 election, previously claimed over 100,000. And that is a fact that on election eve, they had said that they had adjudicated well in excess of 100. I think they said 109,000 ballots had been adjudicated. And now they're saying, well, no, that wasn't right. It's only 5,000.
That's quite a difference.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's hard to make
One
an
of the
error
ways,
like that.
One of the ways the election had all these, quote, irregularities was basically thumb drives and adjudication. That's
Yeah.
it. Because the machines were preset at a very, very high adjudication rate. Now, even if the ballot was 100% pristine, perfect, corners, everything nice and clean, the machine was set to say that there was something wrong with that ballot so that it would get kicked out into what's known as the adjudication process. The adjudication process was then hand counted by left-wing radical activists, for all intents and purposes, that were then allowed to alter whatever that vote was. That's really the way that this went down.
Let me tell you what happened here in Arizona. So myself and several others were down there immediately after the election, and were hearing from some of the people that had been working the polls and knew what was going on. Excuse me. And found out that the first 2 days after the election, there were no Republican observers in the adjudication process. And we had a lot of people saying how they were just told to push the green button and just go away. And they didn't know it, but that their ballots were going to be adjudicated. And I knew that that was where there was going to be serious fraud.
Yeah, and plus, of course, Sharpie Gate is real. Okay. What was her name? Kelly Dixon, I think her name was, who was the head of Maricopa County elections. She put out
She was Fontes' right hand.
She put out a
gal.
memorandum that basically said from I can't remember the exact dates. I think it was like October 23rd to November 2nd. Please use regular ballpoint pens, but on election day, make sure and switch to Sharpies because they bleed through. And it says right on the back of the ballot, do not use Sharpies. So obviously,
well, and the story is that the ballpoint pens took longer to dry on the day of, and so use the Sharpie. It's recommended by Dominion, and that don't worry, there's not going to be an overvote. There's no bleed through. We've got this secure paper, and we all know now that they didn't use all the ballots were on the secure paper. But we have now seen in the report that indeed they did bleed through, they did cause adjudication, and so it's very curious that on the day of when most of the voters going in to vote for Trump were forced to send their ballots to adjudication. I am very interested in the results of this audit as far as that goes.
And you should be. And I was going to say, with everything that we have seen so far, we already know there's 107,550 fake votes. Before we do anything else, that's already been determined. And so obviously I feel we're going to find triple that, to be quite honest. And I know that their goal is to, right, Jack, your goal is to stall this process as much as possible so that you can try to run out the clock. Obviously there's 13 months left. You got to keep ballots for 22 months. So there's 13 months left. This is what their plan is. And, I'm wondering that if they decide not to comply with Mark Brnovich's investigation, which would, I guess, if found guilty, they would then have 30 days to comply with giving up the information that we would need. At that point, do you release the report, with 85% of the work done and call it a day?
I'm ready to go with this special committee that we have to take the results of the audit and write new law to prevent this from happening again. But he can't comply with the fact that, remember, those adjudicated ballots we just got done talking about were required by their own request to be put into our laws to have matching serial numbers, right?
Right.
And the report was thousands of those adjudicated ballots don't have the matching serial numbers, so you could have one ballot reproduced over and over and over again. Also, Fontes was found to have given out illegal advice that if you make a mistake, you can cross it out and vote for something else. I would be willing to bet that there's examples of where someone voted Republican ticket all the way down, but it's been crossed out for Trump and re-voted for Biden. I want to see if that happened,
exactly.
and if it did, how many times. I'm not
Exactly.
saying it did, but I would be willing to bet that that's what we're dealing with.
And Mark Kelly, they say, may have won by 83,000 votes. I doubt it. I mean, Martha McSally and him during that race, I think Martha McSally likely won the race. And maybe we'll find that out, and then we won't have this, this sledgehammer held over us with the 50 votes in the U.S. Senate, and possibly get rid of people that have not been elected.
Well,
and that's why it's so important to do these audits, because in Georgia, the same thing happened with Loeffler and Perdue. So
here's one of the things that I have been trying to figure out, because the same things happen in many states. Now, if you recall out there in Radio Land, President Trump had asked all the secretaries of state to purge dead voters off, voters that hadn't voted forever since they registered 10 years or more. Our Secretary of State at the time was a Republican, and if you remember, it was Reagan. and nice Republican name, but she didn't want to cooperate with that. She told the president, no, I don't want to do that. So what I think happened is I've watched other states and tried to analyze this. As of October 31st, there was a vote count. Now these are people, they took all these people off the list, okay? So as of the 31st of October, there was a number. Then the first few days of November, they slipped those names back into the voter rolls, and then they voted. And then a short time later, they took those numbers back off the voter rolls. So on November 30th, the numbers tied in, the October 31st and the November 30th ballots balanced. And they had voted them and then taken them out. And I think when President Fan had that little exercise there, I think they had indicated that there were about 18,000 votes, Senator, that had been removed at some point after the election. And I think that's what happened. And it happened in many, many venues across the country.
I see orange jumpsuits.
We need to see orange jumpsuits, seriously, for every single one of them. I mean, look, let me ask you this question. With obviously the Navarrete situation, I talked to Sonny briefly a couple of days ago, and he said that even if you expel the guy, that the Democrats were just going to put somebody back in. I don't know if that's true or not, and then they would still have the amount of numbers to where they would still be able to vote against
I get that question
decertification.
a lot, and I've been accused of doing this for that purpose. You can't lower the numbers and then lower the majority needed to pass a bill. You need 16 votes to pass a bill. We have 16 Republicans. One Republican, Paul Boyer, is a no, and apparently possibly Michelle Ugenti-Rita as well. We'll have to wait and see where she stands on that. But no, we can't use the Navarrete situation to do anything about the election and the audit. So put that out of your mind. What we need to do is go and recall Paul Boyer as fast as possible,
Yes.
because we can't wait until 2023 for his replacement. So if we're serious about getting this done, and we need his vote to hold them in contempt, but we may be beyond that now. Now we may need the Attorney General, and I do hope that he actually does something about this. But if not, then our only other recourse is to actually get a concerted effort that's organized, not two groups doing it, one group, everybody come together and work to recall Paul Boyer and put somebody in there that we can, that the precinct committee, and how it works if you recall somebody or if you expel somebody. 3 names get put into the hat that are chosen by the precinct committeemen, whether it's the Democrats in Mr. Navarrete's situation or the Republicans in Mr. Boyer's situation. But the recall's different, excuse me, I'm going down the wrong road. But there's an election for that. But the point being is that we need to make sure that the right person gets in there. And regardless of what happens with Navarrete, it's going to be a no vote, no matter who it is, from the Democrat side.
Right.
Well, Senator, it's, you know what, we've been friends many, many years, and there's one thing we have in common, and that is we are activists. We cannot stand to sit by and let our nation slip out between our fingers. And I'm going to challenge all of you, and I don't even care if you're from another state. I want you to call the Arizona Attorney General Branovich, and he's running for the United States Senate. So here's a chance for him to shine and do the right thing, so that when the election comes, he's going to many voters will look in favor of some of the things he did. So I'm going get your pencils and paper ready, because I'm going to give you the number to call the Attorney General. It's 602. That's a 0. The O. 602-542-5025. You're not going to get to talk to Mark Branovich himself, but let them know that you are angry and that you want this investigation to move forward. I am imploring you to do this. I cannot tell you how much it disturbs me to go places and have people complain, Ray, and then you say, what are you doing about it other than complaining? Are you
Nothing.
are you taking some form of action?
That's what I do all the time. I give out phone numbers. I give out email addresses.
So we'll do
You've
this
gotta
one
be
more
civically
time,
active.
just in case you didn't get it. 602-542-5025. And I want you to call tomorrow. And, you have to remember that when you call, you represent the feelings of probably 50 people that won't call. And anybody that knows this business knows that when you get one call, you're actually representing a lot more people that feel the way you do, Ray, but won't call.
That's
so
true.
let's get all 50 of you. That's 500 or so.
It's a cumulative effort because, you have to understand if a legislature gets, maybe 15, 20 calls, they may just ignore it. But if their legislative aide says, excuse me, Mr. or Mrs. such and such, we just had 415 calls and 180 emails in the last 20 minutes. Now all of a sudden that legislature is going to kind of start thinking, you know what? Maybe I ought to take a closer look at this because, again, self-preservation is their number one goal. Let's not forget that.
Now, we're here on Backstreet Gossip here with Senator Kelly Townsend. Thank you again for being here. I'm curious because this whole thing, this has become America's audit. It really has. And everybody is watching us. And everybody's pointing fingers. Hey, you need an expert. You need the right people to do this audit. But historically, there's never been an audit like this. Now, does it surprise you being in the legislature for as long as you have?
Ray, could you just excuse me a minute?
Yes.
The number you had on the screen was incorrect. 602-542-5025.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
All right. So you've been in the legislature for a number of years, over a decade. Does it surprise you, 2 decades?
No.
Oh, 8 years.
No.
She's not that
9
old,
years.
Ray.
Almost.
She's not
a
as old
decade.
as you.
Almost a decade. So does it surprise you that there is not, again, a mechanism where if something like this comes up, that it's already laid out, this would happen, and then it goes from A to B to C, and we get our information?
You've heard that, the election's already been audited,
Correct numbers on the screen.
And what's important to note is, as you're saying, there are no real election forensic auditors because it's never been done. So
Never.
we really are trailblazing here. And I think it's interesting that the hackers from DEF CON conference and Voter Village were imploring us to do this, and yet we don't have a formal team. We do now. And the mistakes, if there's mistakes in Arizona in the audit, know that now Georgia and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and whomever else decides to do an audit will know not to make those mistakes and to make sure you do this, this, and this. And will there be opportunists in this? I sure hope not. I hope we get some honest to goodness auditors that get this down pat. This has never been done before, but no, there has not been a forensic audit ever before, and especially in Arizona. The little mini audit that they did early on
Was a joke.
basically meaningless.
It wasn't really even an audit.
Not really.
you know?
And so that's an example of how the statutes should change to reflect the needs of Arizona when we have situations like this. We're talking about possibly not using these machines. So we need to know what was working, what's not working, how do we move forward, how do we secure these elections. Mark Fincham came out with some great paper that's
Yeah, we
tamper-proof
saw it.
paper.
We've seen it,
I'm sure
yes.
you guys probably have seen it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people playing a role in this that are unsung heroes, right? And Mark's been out there, but what about Walt Blackman? He was in the audience there when Trump was there, and Leo Biasucci, and
Yes.
Joseph Chaplik, and
We spent
Jake
the whole day
Hoffman,
watching that.
right? And there's a lot of people that are looking at what needs to happen, what needs to change here in Arizona, and that is spreading to around the country. And I think the most important thing is courage. That this was a scary thing for people to have to take on. I've heard people talk about worrying about their safety, should they expose some of this? I mean, that's a natural worry to think, if I do this, am I going to be somehow at risk? And how deep does this go? And who's willing to silence us? But the ball is moving now. You know, that Indiana Jones thing of that
Right,
ball's coming.
right.
They're running. You know, they are running, and there's no stopping us. So, Republicans, fortify your spine. Do what is necessary.
Yes.
And the last thing I'll say is, if you're afraid of losing your job, I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody's like, you know, I've got this whistleblower, but I don't want to get her fired or whatever. And I've heard several whistleblowers don't want to lose their job. This whole thing with the vaccinations and the passport, and you have to have it by November 1st or else you give the axe and all the rest. You have to ask yourself the question, how much is your freedom worth?
Exactly.
How much does this country mean? Because we talked about China. I went and looked up the slave labor stuff, and I posted that on my Telegram today about the companies that are working with China, and in China, these people forced, I mean, do you know they had to put do you remember the suicide nets, that these people worked so hard that they would just jump to their deaths, so they had to put the nets up so that they could get them back up there and put them back to work? Is that what America has to look forward to?
no.
Is that going to happen here if we allow this to
Not
go?
on my watch.
Yeah, not on my watch. And so I'm asking you, at what point are you willing to lose your job, lose your house, lose your car, and all of those things in the name of freedom? Because I'll tell you, our founders did it. Our founders did it.
Yeah.
Their fortunes, how's it go? Their lives, their fortunes, and the sacred honor.
Yeah.
At
right.
what point are you willing to just say, I lay it all down, I'll buy an RV, I'll go live in the woods or whatever, but I'm not giving up my freedom? And it comes down to money and your security, and you have to decide that your freedom is worth more than whatever price you could ever put for your job.
That's
Well
true.
said.
You know, and
Perfectly
you
said.
mentioned Joseph Chaplick, which he was instrumental in putting this no mask mandate together that
Yes.
that everybody signed. Another great patriot, freshman, for the House of Representatives.
Okay, you're watching Hub Radio Phoenix, and we appreciate you being here. We've had Senator Kelly Townsend here.
Thank you,
and
Kelly.
of course,
Yay.
Josh
Great job, Kelly.
Bernstein, and you'll see him
Josh.
again on
Thank
Wednesday.
you, Josh.
There's more to come, so you're going to see some people that were not born in the United States, and you're going to see what they think about America. You're going to be very proud of these citizens. We'll see you on the other side. Do not go away. Bye. Do you have a face for radio? I know I do. And when I found how easy it was to get started in an interesting, informative radio program, I jumped at the chance. Since AM radio program is being replaced by podcasting, you can even create your own programming from your home. Hi, I'm Ron Lutters, better known as Uncle Ronnie on my Fighting Back radio program. If you have a business, a hobby, or a passion and you would like to share that with others, then podcasting may be for you. With strong desire, some talent, and a deep passion, you too could get your radio message on your very own radio programming on Hub Radio Phoenix Network. We have one of the best broadcast engineers in Arizona to help you every step of the way. If you are interested in the enjoyment of podcasting, call me at 602-677-1496 to discuss the effective and affordable way to own your very own radio program. That's 602-677-1496.
Well, hello, everyone. It is Ray Michaels here for Street Talk Hub Radio Phoenix. We have our special guest here. This is Ron. Ron, how are you?
Really good, really good. Enjoying the show here.
Ron, I'll tell you, what an event that you have here. Tell us the event.
This is the American Political Items Collectors. We do a show every spring. We delayed it this year because of COVID, but everybody's here today and we're having a great time.
We are having a great time, and you have a national convention every 4 years that's coming up this year.
It is in Nashville, Tennessee, in end of July.
Wow, that's going to be great. Now, you have some amazing things over here, and what history that the children can learn just from the political paraphernalia that you have. Now, what did this start out with? Say, let's go back to the 1800s. What were they using back then?
Early in the 1800s, buttons didn't exist yet, so we were actually doing things with ribbons, with medals, with like tin-type photographs.
Yeah, what do we have here?
So here's an example of like a ribbon from 1856. So people would have pinned this on and support your candidate.
So now, is this a reproduction, or that is the actual ribbon?
This is an actual ribbon from that time period.
That's a piece of history right there. Can I hold it? Sure. Oh my gosh! So what year was this?
1856.
1856. I'm holding history in my hand right here. And you also said buttons.
Yeah, I mean, buttons first came into existence later. This is like a sulfide brooch that you would think of almost as jewelry. So it's not really a button like we have today, but that's for William Henry Harrison's log cabin campaign in 1840.
I'll tell you, this is truly amazing because you see history right here in front of you. Now, you've been collecting for how long?
I got started when I was 8 years old, so that makes it, 49 years now.
Wow. Prized possession. Which one is your prized possession?
Well, prized possessions are going to be in our display at home, but
I understand you have like a huge museum at your house.
We pretty much do. I mean, we sometimes have television stations come on Election Day, and they like using our collection as a backdrop.
Wow. See, I usually have people come to my house, but this for different reasons. Okay, go ahead. So what do you have here?
Well, something like this. 1920, obviously the country wasn't in too good a shape, so making political items, there weren't a lot of them for that campaign, Harding versus Cox. This particular one is called a Juget because it's got two candidates' pictures on. And that little button is worth about $2,000.
Wow. Now, is it worth more if you put the little tag that says extremely rare on it with an exclamation point?
Well, it's just one of those things. You kind of have to do that sometimes. Draws a little attention. So
I'll tell you what, Ron, we're having such a great time out here, and I encourage you to do this. Tell us the name of the organization again.
American Political Items Collectors.
And how would they get in touch if they wanted to start collecting and they wanted to start, because this is really a lifelong passion for people, and it's something to really to get with other like-minded people as well. So how do they get involved in this?
Well, our website is www.apic.us, or if you look up Ron Piekner, Arizona APIC, you'll get my email, phone number. We advertise everywhere.
That is so awesome. Ron, thank you so much for joining us here. And this is Street Talk, as we always say. And I'm Ray Michaels for Hub Radio Phoenix. On behalf of Ron, myself, until next time, we'll see you real soon.
Hi everybody, I'm Michael Morrison with Hub Radio Phoenix. If you're looking for secure news, the truth, and nothing but the truth, you found it right here at Hub Radio Phoenix.
Are you tired of the long lines and impersonal service you get at the post office? Well, we have a solution for you. Pack Mail is an all-in-one mail center conveniently located in the Fry Shopping Center at 3218 East Bell Road, right here in Phoenix. Owned and operated by Arizona residents Mark and Vicky Battaglia, you can be sure of getting personalized professional service. They will pack, crate, freight, and ship your items anywhere in the world. They work with all the major carriers like DHL, UPS, USPS, and Federal Express. Need an address for your home business or startup company? They have P.O. boxes on site where you can receive and pick up your mail anytime, and their knowledgeable and courteous staff will find a way to ship that awkward or heavy item. You can even have your packages picked up and delivered for a small fee. Their motto is, if you can imagine it, we can ship it. Drop in on the good folks at Pack Mail and let them do the work for you. Pack Mail can be reached at 602-971-2300 or email at info@weshipphoenix.com. That's Pack Mail, 602-971-2300 or info@weshipphoenix.com.
Hi, I'm Marta Llamas, and I own a commercial cleaning company. Now that many people will be getting back to work, let's get your facility ready for them with our total disinfecting, wipe down, and fogging procedures. Our two-step process will help you ensure that your offices are safe. Call me today for a free estimate, and together we can help protect your employees. Thank you, and let's continue to stay safe.
You're watching Backstreet Gossip, news talk, current events, and political commentary with your host, Ron Letters. Now, let's return to the show.
talking about
We'll make sure.
Hello, and welcome back. You kind of caught us by surprise. I didn't hear our director here say we were on.
Are we on?
We're on. Yes, we're on. So, welcome back. For those of you on the East Coast, this is going to be a really interesting part of the show. You might notice that the ladies that are beside us kind of look Asian, and that's because they are, Ray. And we're going to talk about
Well, thanks for pointing that out, Ron.
I don't. You had your eyes closed, so I don't think you noticed they were Asians. But
we're American.
You are American.
and that's what we're going to talk about.
And I love their MAGA hats.
That's what we're going to talk
We
about.
love Donald Trump, and we're for America first.
Well, let me do the little introduction here. But you know, the important thing, Ray, is that people that are born in other countries seem to have a better appreciation for the freedoms and liberties that we have here than most American people.
Well, Ron, you know, I've traveled quite a bit. And when you go to other countries, you see how they live. And most people who are born here and have never traveled, they think that the world is like this. And it just isn't. It is not like this at all.
Well, you know, it's interesting, and we'll get to just a minute. And I want to talk about this. You know, the Democrats, once again, they keep saying what a racist country we are. And yet, our southern borders, we've had since the beginning of the year over 1 million people wanting into this country. And ethnically, they were not like most Americans.
It surprises you that if we're so racist here, why does everybody want to come here?
That's the
makes
question.
No, it makes
why?
no sense.
Why? Because it's not true.
That's right.
So, at any rate, tonight we have some guests here, and it's really my pleasure. I'm going to just say their names real quick, but one of them's going to introduce the other one. I have over here, we have Bora, and she's came from Cambodia. Welcome to the show, Bora.
Thank you for having
And on
me.
this side, we have Tina Hall. That's a real foreign name, Hall. And at any rate, she was born in Hong Kong. And I want you to tell us a little bit about how you came to America and how you met Bora.
Of course. Actually, I was made in Hong Kong. My father actually fled communist China before I was born. He was tortured and he almost killed himself before.
Oh, dear.
He actually went into starvation because everything was ruined in Canton, China because of the Red Chinese coming in, creating class warfare.
Was that under Mao?
Of course, it was the Red Chinese and the Mao Zedong. They created class warfare. There's got to be warfare of some kind. Class warfare made the poor hate the rich.
And you know,
made the poor hate the rich.
A lot of that is perceived, though. It's a perception.
Oh no, it's by propaganda. It's by propaganda, just like it is now. They want to create race warfare. They want to do everything. They, meaning I think it's an evil cabal, and it's basically anti-American. There's a group of anti-American people who are pretending to be in charge, and I don't believe they are in charge. Now, how did I meet Bora? Bora basically came to my speech with the Heirs of the Republic. I was invited to speak, and the topic was dreams from my Hong Kong father. Dreams from my Hong Kong father. And I basically compared my story with our dear Barack, okay?
He had a book called
Our
Dreams
Dear
of- yeah.
Barack, okay? Dreams from my father. He basically talked about his Marxist upbringing and how he sought after Marxist professors. I went to Columbia University the same years he was there. And I'll have to tell you, I did not pursue the Marxist professors. I pursued the primary sources in my education with the history teachers that I went to. So I was oblivious to what was going on until shortly after I had a few kids, and I read a book called what was it called? The Secret Life of Bill Clinton. And here I'm sitting in the library and I'm apolitical my entire life. Up to then, and I saw, oh boy, all his troopers were shot in the stomach somehow, committed suicide. All those poor children at the Mina Airport railway were all dead and killed. And all of his associates were all somehow ending up dead. And I'm thinking, hold on. Why How can it be that he is getting reelected? And he just had that incident with Monica. And I just couldn't believe how the media kept all of this information from the public to the point where he is still the Bonnie of Clyde of politics. He and his wife, and we still don't know the truth about them. How can it be? So my lecture was about dreams from my Hong Kong father. And Bora came up to meet me and greet me and wanted to show me her background. And when she talked about her own background, Bora is a survivor of the Cambodian genocide.
The killing fields.
The killing fields only in '79. I have to admit, I was a kind of a spoiled brat growing up as a child coming to America at the age of 5. I had good food. My father became a Hong Kong chef, and we were in the restaurant, okay? And so basically, Bora's story is so compelling because she has lost all of her family. She lost her husband, she lost all of her family, and when I look at her story, my heart just cries.
Well,
I will let Bora tell
Yeah, I was
her
going to say,
story.
let's ask her a little about this. For those of you that don't know, Cambodia is right next door to Vietnam, and it was a communist country,
Yes.
and not quite unlike Vietnam at the time. It was a country that the United States dared not go into during the Vietnam War because we didn't want another front. But the people, I think, of Cambodia were even worse shaped than the Vietnamese people in terms of government control over their citizens. And so tell us a little bit about your story. I was fascinated. The name of your book is, she wrote a book. This is one of the things we're in our artist series.
2 books.
And that's the Bamboo Promise. Tell us about how you got out of this quagmire of death and came to the United States and able to write a book about your experience.
Well, the book title was Bamboo Promise and / Prison Without Walls.
Prison Without Walls.
What it means to me, why I wrote this book, is give information, give the knowledge to people that there was a dictatorship happened during the communist regime, and also the information that I shared in my book. I want to tell people, the whole world, that there will be no such thing as socialism and that they treat people equally. They always change to communism
It's
and
a
it's
lie.
paired up to genocide.
Yes.
And you understand why the communism is equal genocide. Because genocide, I want to tell you the little brief summary that the code, that genocide is not created by, it's not cured by vaccine. The genocide is created by the power-hungry leaders.
Yes.
So what it happened in Cambodia back in 1975 up to 1979, I'm not surprised because it's happening right now. I sensed it, I feel it, because at that time in 1975, I was not a child. I was 24 years old. And I went through all these things, horror, starvation, killing, and a dictatorship. And so I want to share with people that as long as CCP is still alive, the whole world, especially America, never can be safe. And this is one of the first chapter of my book. It said, why one child about 10 years old carrying a big gun bigger than his body and point the gun at all of us, but all of us and in a house. We live in Phnom Penh. Our house was huge. And my father was, that time, is a big politician. And he's very patriotic. And he wanted to bring freedom to Cambodia, but it didn't happen. It fell because the communism was hypocrite, liar, and so many branches. Like we could not know which one was the leaders. Everybody is a leader. They pull up. That's what one thing, the message to people, that don't try with the communism regime. That kid, they pull the gun, point at us to get out of the house. For 3 days, he lied, because we searching for Americans. Americans are traitors, capitalists, and they kill people, kill Cambodian, and you are the traitor. We are the traitor, so we have to leave the house, and we left the house. So less than 24 hours, Cambodia turned upside down. We had no more privileges life anymore, luxury life. We had to say goodbye to everything. So we walk along the road, and all the money threw away. And the freedom we found out was taken away, no longer existed. And then what? They used the tactic to tell people, make announcement on a mic, that all the military, all the high-class people who've been working, serving for the government, moved forward to show honesty to the communism leaders. Those people didn't understand, but my father knew that it was a lie. They moved forward. The police, the military, when they turned in everything like weapons, it was over. They tied up the back, all the arms to the back, and killed on spot. I saw it in my own eyes. So
They
that's what
shot them dead.
Shot them dead. So, and then what else? They divided us. They divided us up. All the people, just like Tina said, they helped the farmers, the villagers, to hate the high-class people,
Yes.
highly educated, the royal family. They hated, and then they named us as refugees. So when we were forced to leave our house and then keep going for 1 week, and then we were staying, we stayed in one village. Then you know what, Americans, you never saw it, and I saw it. You have to, when the freedom lost, you cannot complain, you cannot talk, you cannot scream, you cannot see anything. Even they kill people. I don't know how they killed it, but I was told that to shut your mouth and then stay away. I saw it. They been eating liver, human liver.
Oh,
Believe it or not,
Cannibalism? It's called cannibalism.
I don't know what it called that time. We just saw that.
But it is
My
called
gosh.
cannibalism. Eating
And
human liver.
I'm the truth. I'm the evidences. And they kill. They when the freedom lost, they put us to work, what we call labor camp, starting from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. And they fed us with what? 1 teaspoon of salt. When you said, American people, I said salt, it's not salt like you used to use it. It's a salt. It's very ugly salt from somewhere, and 1 spoon of salt per person. A child, half a spoon. And how they fed us? 1 can of rice. No, the first time they fed us with the corn, dry corn, that they fed the chicken, and we had a problem. And then months later, they changed to the rice, but they cut down 1 can of rice per person, and the child half of, the condensed milk like 16 ounces of can. That half of the ounce for the child. And I just make the long story short. In 1977, there was no more rice. That's what my father could not stand up with starvation. I want to tell you that this is a real starvation. And then if my book you can read through. Hallelujah. You can see that you learn a lot, and then you stand up for your family, your children, for your country. Remember, when the freedom was taken away, the kids have been indoctrinated. They will no longer to love the parents anymore, because they turn their back to the parents. They report to the Angka. Angka, that means the Khmer Rouge. Khmer Rouge is Khmer is Cambodian, Rouge is red, communist. They report. They told people, the top people, to kill you. So, and they spy on you. So we were so worried. Mostly the kids. So watch out. What is happening right now when they try to indoctrinate the kids? It's gonna be too late. And then they turn your back, and then it's gonna turn you in. Even the starvation, it doesn't matter the kids or not. The mother turn you in. The children turn the mother in because of starvation. They fought for a morsel of right. So have you been through all these things, people, American people? I don't want you to go through all these things. It's horrible. When they put you to work, put us to work from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. You know what? The nutrition they provided differently from what people staying in the village. They use the big containers. It's like feed like 100 people. The big metal container. They put 5 cans of rice there. And then imagine that. How can you get the rice? And nothing. When you complain, Americans, that you have this, not that, but wait until communists take over, you know what? They have no mercy. And remember my word, they don't like America at all. So at night, whoever survived from working hard in the labor camp, at night they checked you out and they kill you. From 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., that's the time they took you out and killed them for no reason. Just because what? FFN, family, friend, neighbors. When they hate you, when they angry at you, when they jealous at you, then they told the Khmer Rouge leader that he's been served by military, he's been a rich person, something, then that's it. So the rest of it. And you don't want to wait until that. So I've gone through the starvation, and then you know what? They eliminate what? You know that they ban the police and everything. I'm not surprised, because communists want to control you. They don't want, they take away your freedom. Now what? They eliminate school, they eliminate bank, they eliminate market, the temple, and what else? Help me.
Police.
The police, yeah. No more police, no more military. They kill them all. Because what? Some people still have a little uniforms. Smart people throw away. But still, you never know when you walk around, you never know that there would be somebody who knew you, right? Yes. A friend or family. They reported to you. They reported to them.
Let me interrupt a couple things here, because this is important. Like most countries, people were allowed to have firearms at one time. And in Cambodia, as in a lot of countries, especially Asia, and we even saw this happen in modern-day Germany in World War II, where the first thing they want to do is take your firearms from you, because that is the thing that, and even during World War II, the Japanese had invaded Pearl Harbor, and they were later asked why. The admiral, what was his name, Yamamoto, and they asked him about that, Ray. Why didn't you attack mainland America? And he said, simply because if we had attacked mainland America, we would have found a rifle or a gun behind every blade of grass, because Americans believe in firearms, and that's one of the things that keeps us free. And in your country, they took all that away, didn't they?
Yes, they
How did
lied.
they
That's
do
right,
that?
of course. And Mao Zedong is the one that said political power is at the end of the barrel of the gun. And that's why they confiscated your guns. And so we're at that point right in America, censorship.
They're
There's no
trying
more
to do
free
it.
shit.
Yes.
Free speech is gone, and we're under the CCP tactics by Google. Thank you very much, and Twitter and Facebook. We are already at that point here in America. Second Amendment, they tried to come after, but you know, we have a lot of smart Americans.
Yes.
Thank goodness we have smart Americans. Thank you, American, patriots out there. There are 100 million guns in America, and we will never let them touch it.
Right.
The more they do it, like Obama did, the more they try to come after you, the more they try to have false flags. Basically, false flags are to get you to say, uh-oh, we don't need the guns. But you know, Americans are smart, because as soon as that happens, you know what? They
Americans
sell more
buy
guns.
more guns.
They're great salespeople. Americans are smart. We will never get rid of our Second Amendment. Thank God. Thank God there are patriots. And we're a melting pot in America of people like us. Your family and your family are patriots who have blood that came and fought for the freedoms that we have.
They paid the price.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Bora,
How-
I'm really sorry that you had
I
to
want
go
to explain
through
to
this.
you about
Well,
your
yeah,
question
I want to ask you the following
about the
question.
fire.
But I'm sorry you had to go through that. Nobody on this.
She watched her
No, I
father die, and
suppose-
her,
don't
her
feel
father
sorry.
died in her
That's-
hands
Well, that's
of
what
starvation.
that's what I was going to say.
That's what
now.
she saw.
You
How
had-
sad.
You had family there, and
I lost
You're-
everything.
She lost
so
everything,
you were an orphan
everybody.
when you left.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about how your father and your family starved to death, or they shot them, and how you escaped.
Okay, let me explain to you what your question and how they took away the firearms. First, they make announcement that to move forward all people who had guns to show the honesty to the communist leader, because we gonna work together to bring peace, freedom to the country. That's one step. Second step, that they went through every houses, and then you know what? The house, when I said house, it's kind of cabins in the farm. They don't have a walls. They just have the roof, and then they go in and then check everything. They took everything. That's the second step.
Same with my
the
family.
third step, they took away all the house, like knife or stuff for the farm.
Anything that could be a weapon.
Yeah, could be
Yeah.
a weapon.
Yeah.
And they said, we want to be equal. We don't want to
Oh,
keep
yes,
we gonna
equal.
Be,
Like in
in
China,
a
we all
community.
wore gray in China. Remember
Right.
equal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no equality.
The red book,
There's-
No.
they still-
propaganda. That's what they're doing
and
to
my
us.
father that time was, let's say, a senator, because we call conseiller du royaume in Cambodian, because this is like a constitutional. And I don't know how to translate it, either congressman
Sure.
or senator.
Yes.
And he served, he's in love with the country, he cares about country, because he has the family, he protects his own family too.
Right.
Just like me, right now, I want to protect my kids and all of Americans,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I
Me
don't
too.
want them
That's why
to
I'm
go
stepping
through
up.
the same thing I've gone through. And then he become quiet when he knew that he was tricked, he was lied on.
Yep.
He just keep going, and then he said nothing, tried to hide his identity. And my first husband, I was married just 4 months before April 17, 1975.
So sad.
He tried to disguise as a farmer so he could hide his identity. And he's a student, pharmacy student. I was the same one too. And we all rich. But when the starvation started, we had nothing to eat. We were hungry. And then what? He brought nothing with him but have gold. I brought gold. We use gold to trade in with the villagers, the farmers. They were so hungry for gold. And sarong is you probably Singapore thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
They
cloth
so
that
poor.
wraps around you.
Yeah. They trade in with that. And then when you're sick, we have no hospital. So fortunately, my father had left hydroxychloroquine.
Oh,
He was
miracle
suffering.
drug.
Hydroxychloroquine, yes.
Yeah,
Even
he
then.
was suffering with malaria. All of refugees who were forced to leave the city were suffering with malaria.
Yes.
And my father had that. I don't know where he got it from, but I was suffering. He gave me one. And he was suffering, he gave me to himself one. Not until the last time in 1977, he had left only one pill of hydroxychloroquine, and we both were suffering with malaria. He took out from his pocket, he said, "You have to live no matter what. Go home and finish your pharmacy degree. If I stay, I go with you. If not, I'm okay. I can use the leaves, bamboo leaves, for infusion to take care of my malaria." And I watched him suffering. And I feel that as long as I felt better, I'm gonna walk and to the neighbors, even that's what we call dictatorship. You walk a prison without walls. When you walk
And that's the name of her book, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
When
The
I
Bamboo
walk-
Promise, The Prison Without Walls.
When I walk one step from here to there, they will they will
Yes.
catch me, ask me, where you going? What the reason? That's dictatorship. Americans have not gone through all these things.
But we see Australia going through this right now because of COVID.
Yeah.
They're locking
Locking
down
everybody
everything.
down.
And they're coming
You
door to
cannot-
door here.
Yes.
And you cannot
They're
go-
coming
you
door to
can-
door for us.
Yes.
To get push
Yes.
for their whatever jab they're doing. And in Tucson, we've already had rallies. You had a rally against the mandate for vaccines, and they're trying to kill us with those what they did with COVID and with these vaccines that they call experimental.
What we like to do here on the show is we like to just provide facts. Now it's for people to decide whatever you want to do. If somebody wants to go out and get one of the shots, that is your choice. We live in a free country. We just try to bring all of the information. A lot of people don't know that these shots are still under
Experimental.
emergency authorization. They're not FDA approved, although they're working
Yes.
towards that. And in both the CDC website and the NIH website, and you can go there, the Nuremberg Convention states that nobody can be forced to have a drug that has not been, it hasn't been
Yes,
authorized.
that's right.
I mean, it hasn't been proven. You can't force somebody
That's
to have an
right.
experimental drug.
Yeah.
You can't. That is international law. Yet, we're providing the information, but please search it out yourself. We're not telling you what to do.
I have a story.
This is opinion as well over here, but it's so important. Just do your own research. If you choose to do it, great. I have a lot of great friends that I love very much. They chose to do it. I have some that they chose not to do it. But we live in a free country. We get
That's
a
right.
chance to choose that.
Yes.
Well,
My
the
personal
problem-
story is with hydroxychloroquine. This is a crime against humanity because last year, early on, Dr. Zelenko in New York was trying to get everyone to use hydroxychloroquine. And lo and behold, you have everyone censoring Dr. Zelenko, censoring me. I was banned off Facebook. I was convinced that hydroxychloroquine was the cure. But the reason why they will not allow the admittance of hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin, which is a fabulous miracle drug as well, is because they wanted to push these jabs, okay? And so it's a crime against humanity because if it had been used in the very start, we would not have hundreds of thousands of people gone. And we have 5 Democrat governors who actually banned hydroxychloroquine. And one of those states was New York City. I have a girlfriend whose mother went into the hospital and
Andrew Cuomo.
yes,
Yeah.
and my Girlfriend begged them to try hydroxychloroquine. They refused. Her mother died. And I'm telling you, it's a crime against humanity. It is all coming
And
out.
let's hope that
It's all
Andrew
coming out.
Cuomo faces the day
A
when
class action
society comes
lawsuit
down
is
on
coming.
Yeah.
It is coming.
You know, a lot of people don't realize this as well. You know, everybody loves Dr. Fauci, right? They
No.
they love.
No.
Well, no, I mean,
No.
when he came about
Fraudchi?
back in 2015, he did a study on coronavirus, and he said that hydroxychloroquine was a good preventative
That's right.
measure for the coronavirus. COVID is part of the family of coronavirus. So
Coronavirus.
he in
been a
2015 he said
fraud.
it was good. He
Yeah.
did the study.
We are
But
in
you can
trouble.
see
We're in
this.
trouble
Don't
because
believe us, please. Don't believe
We are
us.
in
Go
trouble.
do your own research.
we are in trouble.
Find out.
If people don't wake up and realize,
But I believe that a lot of people see it and wake up. And my message, as long as I keep sending out the message, it's just like dripping water. Keep dripping.
That's right.
Consistently.
Yes.
And then we'll survive the bamboo. And the old bamboo, it's been dead. Now all Americans who have not gone through the genocide and communism regime and who didn't believe it could happen, I consider those people Americans that you are the bamboo sprout. Keep going, I mean that some people are still good, but I'm gonna explain why. Those people are good as a bamboo sprout, just keep going, keep growing stronger and multiply. Take the power back and then reunite.
we have to get the truth
then
out.
have
It's
a
time
compassion.
for to speak up. Truth matters. What we are about to do is we're going to go and we will speak to any group that wants us. We want to develop a message that is about America first, but truth matters. We have to get the truth out, along with Bora, Venezuelan survivors, Cuban survivors. We have Korean survivors. We have survivors of communism that has something to say, and that is, you do not want to live in this country under the rule of communism, and that's the
I
key.
will never believe that America's gonna fall into the communism regime hand, because I trust Donald Trump. I
Yes.
support him. I love him because he represents my voice as well as the voices of
That's
a
right.
250,000 of Cambodian people who been killed
That's
with
right.
no justice.
Yes.
So
You know, Bora,
he,
Bora, when you mentioned the bamboo shoots, you know, we're all little bamboo shoots. A lot of people don't realize that bamboo grows extremely fast. In some
Yes.
places, it can grow, you know, a
Like
foot in a
weeds.
day.
Yes.
In a day.
Yes.
And that's what
And-
she means.
and-
That means we have to grow other people who are aware and awake, and we need to all come out and we need to have our voices heard, because it's about taking our country back. Like Donald Trump said, this is your country. The only reason why they hate him is because he stands in the way.
Right.
He stands in the way
Yeah.
of us, and it is up to us now. And we have thousands of people who are going to come out in protest in Tucson on Saturday morning in front of UMC. All these poor nurses and doctors who do not want this experimental jab because it is killing people, and there's about 400,000 adverse reactions.
Right.
People are getting paralyzed. People are losing
Enlarged hearts.
their functions.
Yeah.
Uh,
So tell us about, okay, so Saturday, this coming Saturday,
this coming
what's the
Saturday,
date? What is the
it's
date?
this coming Saturday. I think it's the 14th, if I'm not mistaken. But 10 o'clock to noon.
Okay,
and
10 to
people
noon.
are coming
Where's this gonna be
out.
at?
It is in front of the right? TC. TMC, Grant and Craycroft.
I
Okay,
wanna-
Grant and
Okay?
Craycroft.
Yes.
All right.
And of
Now-
course, that's in Tucson, Arizona.
And
Tucson,
what is the
Arizona.
name of the event? What's the name of the event?
It's a protest rally against vaccine mandates, because this is coming down
Oh,
on
yeah.
all people now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And this is against the Nuremberg Code. And there are going to be lawsuits galore going on. People, do not comply, because
Again,
you
it's an
cannot be
experimental
forced.
drug. It's an
You cannot be
experimental.
forced.
And it's basically chemicals. It is
well-
not a vaccine in the true sense of the word, where a vaccine is
Right.
generally a dead virus.
Right.
That's right.
It's inert.
I have a personal story about this. I am a very big dancer, okay? I have run a dance on Friday nights, and we do West Coast swing, and it's a load of fun. But about 2.5 months ago, I had a friend who came in and announced, I just got my vaccine. He was very proud of it, okay? So we danced the night away, but the next day, this is a true story, and they're a witness, this is a true story. The next day, I had a menstruation period like I was a 25-year-old girl. And FYI, I had a hysterectomy last August, okay, with a huge clot.
How'd that
And
happen?
now, on Sunday, I had it 4 times with my bed completely red, 4 clots. My gynecologist, a few days later, was flabbergasted. How can that be? I had a hysterectomy, and now you're finding that doctors and women are having trouble with their menstrual periods and all of those things. I got that from the spike protein
Right.
from the vaccinated man.
So
and
for-
by the way, the vaccinated people are the ones filling up the hospital. I hate to tell you people, but you have to beware that this is a crime against humanity.
So there is
Whatever
there
they're
is
doing.
there is research, and you can go on
That's
the
a real
Pfizer
story.
website. You can go on
I
you
agree.
can go on those websites,
That's a
and they
real
do admit
story.
that there's what's called shedding. That
Shedding.
if you have the immunization, the shot, if you get that when you come into contact with somebody, you can actually transfer that spike protein to somebody else. So you
If
are
it didn't happen
you
to
are-
me, I would never believe it.
Yeah, so
I
you're a
would
perfect
never believe
example
it.
of the shedding.
And even my doctor is completely ignorant.
The
This is the
important thing-
problem. Doctors don't even, they don't get the information about what's really happening.
Okay,
We
the
are
important
really
thing here that I want to address this to the audience. I've talked to a lot of people during the days, and I listen to some people that say, oh, that's just fake news. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
Go
you
to their
just heard
website.
it. You just heard it right
Yeah.
here. You heard it from a real person,
My real story.
and you've heard her story. It's a sad story, but you heard it here. Don't tell us this is fake news.
No.
This is real news.
It's dangerous.
Do the investigation yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Go to their websites, see what they say. Go to the CDC website, and a lot of everybody says Center for Disease Control, right?
But CDC
but
never
that's
tell the truth
no,
either.
but they'll talk about the Nuremberg Code. They'll talk about NIH as well. But people forget that the CDC is Center for Disease Control, but they forget the other part of it. That's not the official name. The official name is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. But you know what? Have you heard anything about preventing?
They've hidden
getting
the
it?
cheapest
one
therapeutics from us.
have
It's a
one message.
crime against
One
humanity.
message.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
it's a crime.
My message is from my heart and based on the truth, based on the evidence and the facts I had gone through. I want to send a message to American people that it doesn't matter who you are, Democratic, Republican, or independent, BLM or something. When the America is in full control of communism regime, they kill all. They
Yeah, it
kill us
doesn't
all.
matter. It doesn't matter where you
matter.
stand. Yeah.
You don't want to point a finger that you are Republican, you are Democrat. And I
and
don't want to die. I don't want to go through again because my kids are there. And I don't want to go through because I don't want all of you, I love you, to go through the same thing.
That's
Because
right. I
see
feel the
that.
same way.
You are
Absolutely.
wrong. You are wrong.
Here's
That-
the really important thing, guys. Everything that's going on in this country today, and let's face it, this country is upside down.
Yes,
there can
it
be
is.
no doubt about it. Everything is about control,
That's right.
control. They want to
Yep.
control every aspect of your life, from the food costs to the gasoline that you use,
Yes.
What
to
you
your
eat,
rent,
what you
to
eat.
your
That's the way to
income.
kill.
Yeah.
That's the way
No,
to kill.
I'm kind of interested. I want to get back to you because you've got such a fantastic story. how did you get out of Cambodia, and why did you come, of all countries, to the United States?
Thank you for asking me that. When I crawled out from the horror, I was alone. First of all, I was so happy because I have no parents to tell me what to do. And I was so happy, but day by day, I miss my parents. But I decided to escape the country. No way that because Prime Minister, that time in 1979 when when we were liberated from the genocide, that Prime Minister was also the former Khmer Rouge. So I don't believe in politics. So it's the same Khmer Rouge. They're gonna kill again, no matter what. They kill in different way or whatever. So I escaped, and then I went through all the path to reach the refugee camp, which was Kawadang camp, and I stayed there for 8 months or so, and then I met the second husband, and then he decided to which way should go to France or should go to America. I said go to America. Who doesn't want to go to America? Because it's a great country, the most powerful country. Who doesn't obey and respect America? And they have freedom, peace, justice. And don't make me wrong. So American people, keep it that way. Be a bamboo stronger for who you are. You are Americans, you are strong, you are powerful, you are great. Reunite and get rid of anger, fear, and the revenge.
Yeah.
Reunite, love, love, compassion. It's
Well
time
said.
right now. Do
You know-
not divide. It's not time to divide it.
No.
You divide up and you think that you better than the other party. It caused the communists to win your battle.
Yes, that's
You know,
right.
Ron, I've mentioned many times on the show, I was very blessed over 35 years to travel all around the world. And I've been to Cambodia, and I've been to Hong Kong, and I've seen how it is. And I suggest to everybody, if you think that how we live here in America is how all the rest of the world lives, you're very, very wrong. When I went into Sihanoukville, which is where we docked the ship in Cambodia, everything is dirt. There's no roads, there's no sidewalks, there's nothing. It's just dirt. People coming and going. There's really no traffic laws. People throw waste on the side there. We went into Siem Pen. We flew into Phnom Penh, and then we went into Siem Reap.
Yeah.
And we went to Angkor Wat, which is a wonderful
The great
place.
temple.
Yeah, the temple, one of the
Yeah.
many Wats in Cambodia. And yeah, you have the resort areas that are very, very nice, and things are very cheap. But the rest of the country,
But that's for
No.
tourists and not
Yeah.
for citizens.
You
and
know,
it's,
one
and
thing-
it's money coming from other countries to only rebuild a tiny
That's
little
right.
portion.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not the country. So I suggest go out there, look and read. Don't watch mainstream media because they're not going to tell you the truth. But when you go into countries like Cambodia, like Hong Kong, and I was there before the switch,
I'm
and
sorry,
right
but
after,
I have
and
to
it was
tell you,
completely different.
the message that Bora and I are here to say is that communism gives power to the few. And we're talking about the existential threat right now. I don't have time to talk about, tourism or anything like that. Communism gives power to the few, and Americanism gives power to the many. And how many people believe that Donald Trump is the only thing keeping us from dictatorship, that he's keeping dictatorship at bay? The reason why Bora and I came in with these hats is because we went to Donald Trump's rally last month, and we were in the front row waving to Donald Trump because we know Donald Trump is about to put out the hammer. And I really believe it, because we cannot sustain the 6 months of what they have done so far. Criminals first, America last.
Open borders.
Oh, that's criminals first.
borders.
America last. America last. Iran first. America last.
True.
And
China
what
first.
we're doing,
And
China first. We call him Joe Biden. Joe Biden is not a real leader, and he will be removed as soon as possible because he has so many crimes under his belt, and those things are being
Well, he's very,
they're gonna
very,
be-
very friendly with the
they're
CCP.
going to- yes,
And-
Zhao
and-
Biden and,
and
Bora.
Bora.
What does Zhao mean?
It's Zhao.
Zhao.
In
Zhao
Cambodian,
Biden.
Zhao, they mean thief.
The thief is
Oh, wow.
so appropriate, and so we are at it. We are in a dangerous point in America, and we've got to get out and we've got to speak up to our neighbors.
And I have
and
one
to
last
our-
message.
Yes.
I want to share all the American people.
Yes.
To stand up strong. Right now, it's time. You don't want to go through. You believe that I lied. I'm the evidences. I speak the truth.
You do.
And
You
I'm
do.
not a politician. I survived the genocide. You go to Cambodia or you go to website, look for S21. It's a prison where they kill all the politician, the high class people, how they kill it. Whoa, you don't want to go through all this. When you complain that they killed you badly, wait until communists kill you. They shackle all your ankles and all your wrists, and then they whip you with electrical cord. Everyone, one question, and they whip one. And when they ask you, who are you? When you said, well, whip one until they die. When I was liberated in 1979, I walked to see that. I saw the blood, fresh blood there.
That's
and
right.
then not just that, American people, you have not gone through all this. When I told you like that, you probably don't believe it. Even my friend, with my book, they said, Bora lie. How can I lie? How?
No, you
And
cannot
then
lie.
they
These
pull
are
out-
real
They
incidents.
pull out the nails. There is a little kiosk.
Yes.
They pull out the nail every question.
right.
Not a good thing.
My father was rich too. My grandfather built the first church in Canton, China. They hated anyone who has religious beliefs. They do not like the wealthy. They cause them to be hated by the other people in the village, even though my grandfather built the first church in Canton, China. They took the gold ring off my mother's finger. This is what they do. They take your wealth and they beat you and make you bring more gold or money that you've hidden. My father almost jumped off a 4-story building in order to escape the torture. This is no fun. And what you're looking at is you're experiencing what it looks like. That's what they want. Joe Biden wants that for America. But you know what, America? We've had a taste of America first. And there's the only president in my lifetime, Donald J. Trump, that kept every promise and more and more. He did everything, gave us energy
This is not a
independence.
paid political announcement, guys. This is the way they really feel.
Donald Trump gave us energy independence. We got more money in our pockets. More people got jobs. He helped the veterans get A1 health care, and he did everything
protected
and
the
more.
borders.
And he stopped.
He reinforced
Brentley,
the military.
I would like,
Stop
we're
the-
almost out of time, and I want
Negotiated.
to address something that
And he's
Bora
going to bring
said.
up the child trafficking. That's a big deal, and that's coming too. Donald Trump, we love you, and we want you back so
And
badly.
he watches the show, so
Yes.
you
Hi.
hear it here first.
Donald Trump,
Donald.
Laura,
We
and I
support
are
you.
ready. We're
You do
ready
the
to
right
go.
thing.
We're
Anyway,
ready for the battle.
here's what I want to
Right,
talk about.
Bora?
If you
Yes.
notice what Boris said, is come together in peace and love. Okay.
Yes.
What is the biggest way to destroy anything? It's to divide it.
Divide.
So what's the
Divide.
first thing that they
Race,
talk about
one thing.
right now? They're trying to tell us that if you're white, you have
It's
a
incredible.
It's a lie.
naturally
It's a
you
lie.
naturally
We're a
dislike-
melting pot, and we
How-
love one another.
Dis-
Did
like-
you choose your color, Ron?
No,
Impossible.
No, God
God
said
selected who we are.
He selected who
That
we
is
are.
so fake.
where-
Everybody
where we
knows it's
go,
fake.
But
what
he
color
gave
we
us
are.
he gave us a brain.
He did.
And that's if you're prejudiced, guys. Guess what? It's a learned response. You didn't get it from
You know
birth.
what Bora said that was so amazing. She talked about the bamboo that grows very, very strong.
Yes, it
but
does.
bamboo is an amazing plant because it can be used as
anything.
food. It can be used as
medicine.
clothing, medicine,
Furniture.
building,
Shelter.
shelter.
And floors.
everything. It can be used.
And
so
cutting
it means
boards.
that when
I
you
know.
grow,
I've got a bamboo
you're gonna
cutting
go.
board.
I know.
You're gonna grow really fast, and
That's
you're gonna
right.
be used in many different
That's
ways.
right.
You're not heading in one direction. You're heading in all
That's
these
right.
directions.
And you know what? China compare themselves as a bamboo because they want to be bamboo. American people.
We are bamboo.
Grab it. We
We
are
are
the bamboo.
bamboo.
Right.
Peace, freedom, and strong and powerful.
Multiply the truth, multiply in numbers,
Multiply.
because we're gonna
Never
be.
die.
We need to be
And-
out there. We need to be out there and speak up.
And keep this in
Speak up,
mind.
America.
Our country was based on individual rights, individual freedoms, individual liberties, not collective rights, liberties,
Tina
and
needs to
freedoms. They need to be individual.
That's right.
It's everybody has equal justice under the law. We are all equal in that we are all treated the same. It's not we have equal abilities, but it's all individual, not collective.
Here's one of the things. First of all, Tina needs to say what she means.
I do.
At any rate, listen.
is bamboo, right here.
Here's
I am
here's
Speak
the
Up
way.
America.
Here's the way this country is. Ray, we talk about e pluribus unum all the time. From
That's
one
right.
Out of many,
from
one.
May I, before-
hold on.
Yes.
I just got to get this point across. One of the things that they're doing in this country to us, and you see it and you hear it every day on the radio, on the television, and that is this division. You are either a vaccinated person or you are a
believe
non-vaccinated
it.
person. And so they're splitting us. We hate people that aren't vaccinated. We hate people that are vaccinated. We don't hate anybody.
No.
As Ray said, it's your choice.
That's
Whatever
right.
you want to do is but
Right.
be educated about your choices. Now you had one we're
What
almost
I'd
out
like
of
to
time.
do, well, I have 30 seconds, and I'm going to say right now, what Donald Trump said was our hearts bleed red, white, and blue. We will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield, we'll never give up, we'll
That's the
never
bamboo.
give in, we'll never back down, we will never surrender. And this is a call out to the American people that we are going to see.
You don't have headphones on, but we've got
Oh.
music playing, so we
Okay,
got
whatever Joe Biden is doing, it's going to go away like a vapor,
Well, at any rate,
because
we-
we will forget it like a bad nightmare.
Time out.
Ron,
time out.
Ron, we
gotta
need
go.
to print some T-shirts. We are bamboo.
Bamboo. Okay, listen, thank you so much for Bora, and thank you,
Where's the
Tina.
clapping?
And Ray, this has been a
Bamboo promise
phenomenal
present
program.
without walls.
We hope that you all enjoyed
Where
it.
did
We'll
our
be
audience
back
go?
on Wednesday for Fighting Back at 7 o'clock.
What's the
Join
name
us
of,
then.
What's the name of the book? How can we get in touch with you?
Bamboo promise, prison without walls.
And where can we get it?
Right now is on Amazon.
Amazon,
It's
all right.
published since 2012.
Awesome.
And it took
Okay.
me 12
Thank
years
you.
to
God
finish.
bless
We got to go.
America.
Good night. We'll see you Wednesday night. Thank you for
God
staying
bless
around.
you, and God bless
Bye.
America.
I hope you
Right,
stay
that was
strong.